Hey everyone, Near Mint Nerd here. Welcome to the I Got Issues channel. I got a big haul for you today. It's a really simple haul. I went to a shop that was kind of like a hobby video game, board game, action figure kind of secondhand store. And they had like 10 or 15 long boxes full of comics. I'd never been there before. I knew immediately when I was looking through the first box that this place had been picked clean. These were like not good books. Anything that could have perhaps had a little bit of value was in rough condition. But, you know, that never deters me. And every book in the whole lot was 50 cents each. So I dove in there and I spent about 2 hours going through all those boxes. And I found exactly $25 worth of books, 50 books that I brought home, some of them worthless, you know, as far as money goes, but I think they're pretty cool and I'm happy to have them. Some of them, I actually found a few diamonds in the rough. Not many. I mean, this place had been picked clean. You know, you always know when you're going through a long box when, you know, this is like, there's nothing left here. These comics have probably been here for years. And, you know, people just going through them and going through them. But, you know, I persevered. I actually kind of prefer some of the older stuff, like 80s, early 90s, 70s. And a lot of people just pass that stuff over, you know, looking for, you know, the hot variants and the, you know, the key books. So I found a couple of books. Anyways, so this is, you know, lately I've been, you know, I have so many hauls over the past 3-4 months that I've been kind of going through my haul boxes and putting together hauls to show you, you know, based on, I'm going to take, you know, I'm trying to make them good hauls. So I'll take like, you know, a couple of Silver Age, a couple of this, a couple of number ones. But this is going to be my first really pure haul in a while. This is exactly the 50 books I took out of that store yesterday. So keep that in mind, keep an open mind. Some of these are not treasures. They're just stuff I needed to fill in my collection or stuff I was personally interested in. But I just want to show you, if nothing else, the experiment of make sure you go through those boxes because, you know, even if they look like they are terrible boxes, there's always something in there somewhere. All right, guys. And you know what? I'm sure I missed stuff too. I'm sure like there was stuff that the next guy's going to go in and go, oh, I can't believe I found this. You know, so just get in there. Don't be afraid to long box dive. All right, guys. I'm going to turn you over to me on the other side, show you all these great books, and then I'll come back at the end to wrap it all up. You know, like I always do. I don't know why I'm even explaining this. I mean, it's literally the same thing every time. All right, guys, have fun, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, so here are the 50 books that I purchased, each one 50 cents each. Again, you know, these are not books that are going to be blowing your mind or anything, but they're a lot of good finds as far as I'm concerned. All right, so I'm going to start off with a bunch of number ones that I picked up, starting with Doc Savage number 1 from Millennium. Now, I think that the license now is owned by Dynamite, and they do the odd mini-series. But this was in the, I believe, early 90s that Millennium was a thing. Even then, it was $2.50. Wow, can you believe it? So this was Doc Savage Repel. I'm not sure if this was an ongoing or what. I haven't read this yet, but I'm a big fan of Doc Savage. I really, you know, the Doc Savage, The Shadow, all those old Golden Age radio plays and dime novel characters, I really dig. So, you know, Doc Savage is not a character that's really ever gone places in comic form. But I'll tell you that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock himself, has signed on to play Doc Savage in a movie. I don't know if it'll ever get made, but if it does, maybe some of these old comics will kind of jack up in price a little. Who knows? All I'm saying is, Doc Savage, maybe you should start picking them up in giant numbers. I wouldn't recommend that, actually. That would be a terrible mistake. Unless you love the character. All right, so next up, Alien Legion. This is a #1 issue, special 48-page first issue. You gotta like that. Big chunk of story by Carl Potts, Alan, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this one. Alan Zelenitz. Ooh. Terry Austin, you'll recognize that name. So, Alien Legion was kind of a late 80s book, or, oh, wow, look at this, April 1984. I take that back, mid-80s book, that used to have some value and some popularity. But it's kind of fallen on hard times now. Nobody really talks about it anymore. And, you know, even this #1 issue is not worth anything. Maybe $3-4 tops. But for 50 cents, in perfect condition, I'll take it every time. I got Nth Man, the Ultimate Ninja. I actually worked at a comic shop in Winnipeg in the early 90s when this came out. And I remember thinking, this is the worst comic ever. I think they made 16 issues of this. And I've never owned a single one. And then I saw #1 for 50 cents, and I thought, now's the time! What else? We got Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Fantastic first issue from December 96. This is a #1. This comic's not worth anything, nor should it be, quite frankly. You know, this was like a late addition to the Star Trek canon. Is this the kid from Deep Space Nine, the son of Quark, maybe? Anyways, this is a go-nowhere book, but I'm a sucker for Star Trek stuff, so I picked it up. Also picked up a book called Monster Matinee. I don't know what this is, but, you know, I'm obsessed with movie monsters, so I picked it up. Basically, this is just a whole bunch of pinups. Like, it's not a story or anything, so I flipped through it. You know, whatever. It's #1 of 3. I don't know what else they could possibly have had to say. It's from Chaos. I believe Chaos had the Evil Ernie license, maybe, and maybe Vampirilla. I might be wrong about that, but that kind of like that's I don't know. That's at the front of my mind for some reason. I got, yeah, you better believe I did, Kid and Play #1, guys, and it's a newsstand. Wow, you know, like, you wouldn't think this would be worth $80, and you'd be absolutely right. It's worth nothing. But I do really kind of like Kid and Play. I used to love the House Party movies. Was there more than one? I think there was 2, right? I actually kind of dug Kid and Play back then. Not their music so much, but I did like their movies. I thought they were really fun. Also picked up Sledgehammer #1. You guys remember this TV show from the 80s? Man, I used to love this show. I don't know how many. I think they only did a couple of issues of this. I think maybe 3 issues. It's not worth anything. Even though guest starring Satana? I don't know why there's a exclam there. Question mark followed by an exclamation point. But there is. I don't know. If you guys haven't seen this show, it's kind of dated. But you know what? If you like the style of humor that Abraham Zucker brought you, like Airplane the movie, Hot Shots, Top Secret, if you like that style, definitely pick this up. They also did, of course, The Naked Gun, which I would say was kind of the 70s version of this character, who is like the 80s version of a parody cop. You know, he was all Rambo. He was all about, like, he had the biggest gun, a giant gun that he just was in love with. Hey guys, so we had a little technical glitch. My iPad actually ran out of memory. I forgot that I loaded it up full of iTunes movies for a long car ride we were doing last week. And so I rambled on through another 4 or 5 books before I realized that the video had stopped. And so I'm backtracking a little. So if I sound less than enthusiastic, it's only because I'm doing this all over again, and that has nothing to do with the quality of the books. So I left off at Sledgehammer, I think. So my next #1 is Muppet Babies Adventures, and you know, I dig these kind of books. This was based on a Saturday morning cartoon that I was maybe a little bit old for, but I watched anyways because I was a little bit of a Muppets nut. Now, this is, Harvey came out with another line of classic comics in the early 90s. They also put out new versions of Casper, Hot Stuff, Richie Rich. But this is the one that I didn't have at the time. This is a nice book. It's got a little bit, you can see even from here that it does have a little bit of wrinkles here, but, you know, that's easily pressed out. I don't think it breaks any color. You know, if this book suddenly shot into the stratosphere, which it will never do. At least not in my lifetime. This is actually the second volume of Muppet Babies. They did another volume for Star Comics. Star Comics was a Marvel line that they used to put out like cartoony books, mostly based on animated properties. So they had a couple of originals as well, but mostly they had Thundercats. They had like a Chuck Norris cartoon book. They had Muppet Babies. They did like Strawberry Shortcake, I think. And then the big ones at the time were the Ewoks and the Droids books, which were both based on the Nelvana cartoons. Which is funny because I started my career as a writer writing at Nelvana. I came after those cartoons, but I was there at the time that Beetlejuice was wrapping up, and you know, they were doing a new Care Bears movie and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun for me to have a bit of a pedigree in that, you know, the studio where I basically got my first television writing job were the ones that put out those, you know, those early Droids and Ewoks cartoons. I came much later. I'm not a super old man. All right, so moving on. I always like get into these digressions. I apologize. You know what? I have a whole bunch of Star comics because I've been kind of, you know, it's a line that I'm really interested in. So I've been buying them up. If you guys want to see a haul dedicated to Star comics, let me know because, you know, in these 4 or 5 long boxes of haul stuff that I've bought in the last 3 or 4 months, there's quite a bit of Star in there. When I find it, you know, for cheap, for 50 cents $1, I always buy it. Let me know if you want to see that. Okay, so where are we now? Little Bionic Kids and Little Battlestar Galactica. These were just one-shots that Dynamite put out. They're kind of in that Scotty Young kind of, you know, look. What's his name? Balthazar, something on like the baby superhero lines. I can't remember what they're called. Anyways, you know, those are very popular. Actually, they kind of fit the theme of Muppet Babies pretty well too, don't they? That was completely unintentional. Anyways, those are just one-shots. They're not variant covers or anything. They're just little one-shots they did for fun. Next up was a really interesting find. Army Surplus Comics, featuring Cutie Bunny. Now, these books, you know, once Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in the 80s, they were quickly followed by a glut of independent, strange, funny animal comics. A lot of them were direct parodies, like, you know, there was the radioactive geriatric gerbils, and there was one about lizards, and oh man, there was just so many. I believe this is part of that craze as well. These old black and white independent comics that were just, they were so hot around the time of the Turtles. So this one, I don't know too much about. So I just saw it and I thought, oh, I'm going to bring this home. Why not? And this is kind of the fun thing about finding a comic like this and bringing it home. I looked up in the guide and it's got a bit of value. It's worth about $12. I mean, this is in very good shape. This is a near mint for sure. And it's guides at $12. You'd never be able to sell it for that. You know, probably half that. Maybe I can get $6, maybe $8 for it. But the funny part is, when I got it, I was like, oh, this is really thick. Like, it's a big, thick, meaty story. Which was part of the appeal of getting it. It kind of felt like a gobbledygook issue, or Grunts, if you know what I'm talking about. But then when I opened the bag, I was surprised to find that they had simply just bagged 2 issues together. That's why it was so thick. It's actually not that, not an oversized issue or anything. There was just 2 in the bag, and they're both preserved perfectly. So I basically paid for my haul with these 2 books. You know, the guide for $12 each, $24. I paid $25 for the haul. And I have yet another book that by itself paid for the haul as well. So I doubled my money on the haul with 3 books. And that's kind of the fun of it, right? I mean, I don't sell my comics, so there's a good chance these will be worth nothing in the future. But for now, today, I got that nice little story to tell. What else? Where are we here? You know what? I think I might have missed this one. I'm gonna show you this again. I'll just edit it out if I because this is around the time my iPad ran out of batteries. I don't know if I got to this one or not. So if I did, you won't see this because I'll have edited it out. But I got this book, Lunatic Binge, by Jack Davis, cover artist. I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? He must be like a Mad Magazine cover artist because that has that real kind of mad style to it. This is a square-bound prestige format book. It's an anthology of different horror stories, and it's some of them are in color, some are black and white. And I'm a sucker for the old movie monsters. So when I saw this Frankenstein, and it's an infinity cover too, which means that, if you could look forever into the cover on the magazine, and in the magazine you look into the cover, and so on and so forth. And I have 2 of those. Strangely, Kid and Play was also an infinity cover. So strange. You'll have to backtrack to believe me on that one because I already showed that book. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe this won't be good, but you know what? For 50 cents for a 48-page square-bound prestige format book, sign me up. All right. Next up, I'm just going to show you some nothing books. They're not really much of anything, but I picked them up anyways because I kind of like the looks of their jib, if you know what I'm saying. I got Zorro number 2. If you guys will remember in my last video, I had found Zorro number 1 and 3. And I had never even heard of this title. I didn't realize that Marvel Comics had put out a Zorro title. If I did realize it, I had forgotten it. So I found number 2 to complete that little run of 3. Pretty happy about that for 50 cents. And then, these are all out of order, so I'm just going to quickly, while I'm talking, you put them in order here. And then I've got some Marvel reprint titles, but not what you would expect, actually. Let's see, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, okay. There they are, ElfQuest. Now, this was originally done through another title. I can't remember off the top of my head what the company was called, but they were in black and white. And it was actually quite popular. It's kind of like lost its popularity over the years, but in the 80s, these comics were super popular. And this is from Marvel's Epic Comics line. And so what they did is they reprinted them in color. And I used to have a bunch of these, and I didn't know which ones, and I really liked it. I just thought the art style was really unique. Wendy Pini, Richard Pini and Wendy Pini, I assume are a married couple, or were at this time. Hopefully they made it. Go Wendy and Richard. I don't know though. Man, they work well together. So I got ElfQuest number 3, number 5. I didn't know which ones I already have, so I just got what they had that were in. I only got the ones that appeared to be in near mint condition. Number 6, number 8. Look at that horse. That's a nasty looking horse, isn't it? Number 10, and that's it. So these are not worth anything. It was purely kind of a nostalgic vibe because I do like I did like ElfQuest. I'm gonna give these a read and see if I still like ElfQuest because that was quite a while ago. So next up, I just have some really cool covers I wanted to show you. By some various cover artists. So starting with The Spirit, which is a very recent book. Will Eisner's The Spirit. They rebooted it at DC, and they were all the covers were by Darwin Cook. May he rest in peace. We lost him at the start of this year in a very sad circumstance. Passed away from lung cancer, I believe. One of the all-time great artists, and I guarantee that we're going to be looking at Darwin Cook covers the way everyone is looking at Adam Hughes covers now. So get on the Darwin Cook train, guys. Get on early. You got to get these books. He is brilliant. Number 5 as well. Again, these were all 50 cents. Number 6. Oh, these are just gorgeous. I especially like this one. Number 7. Here, I'm going to even put it a little closer so you can really admire that. I mean, his women are gorgeous. And, you know, he did... we still have Cameron Stewart with us, and he does a similar style to that as well. You'll remember from, you know, Catwoman after the Jim Ballant run. But I don't know, Darwin Cook, what can you say? Like, he also did the maybe his most famous works, because they kind of went into the book world as well, was his Donald Westlake adaptations in comic form of the Parker character. I think he did 4 or 5 of those books. Also beautiful, gorgeous, and they were all done in 2-color style, just blue and white. And man, they were awesome. I got one more Darwin Cook to show you. The Last Resort, number 3. I don't know anything about this. It's from IDW, but look at that cover art. It's like a slasher book. And look, she's like someone sliced her open in the middle, but it's done in like a real cartoony style. That really attracted me to this. And it's a Palmiotti and Gray story, which, you know it's going to be pretty good. So that was a nice find for 50 cents, I thought. Also picked up Green Arrow number 2 from the Mike Grell run, and we have this terrific Mike Grell cover. And, you know, it's a shame that these books aren't worth anything. I think number 1 of this Green Arrow, and this is the first ongoing Green Arrow title from 1988, mind you, in the mature readers line. Number 1, I think, is worth about maybe $10, maybe $12. And number 2, it's probably worth about cover price. Can you believe that? What a shame. Green Arrow gets no love. But this is a beautiful Mike Grell cover, and it was not staying in a 50-cent bin if I could help it. Also picked up a Tomb Raider cover done by Greg Land. I love Greg Land. He does great work, and this is no exception. Beautiful, beautiful Lara Croft cover. I would put that up against any Adam Hughes cover. Anyone. And speaking of Adam Hughes, yeah, you know I found some Adam Hughes in that bin. I'm sure all the Catwomans and Wonder Womans were picked over 1,000 times over. But I found a whole bunch, actually. I found another run of the Star Trek Medulla Imperative. I don't know what it's called. It's 8 issues that goes over the regular Star Trek book and the Next Generation book. I found another whole run of that, and that's all covers by Adam Hughes. But nobody really knows it because they're not sexy covers. But these are, kind of. So I got Ghost number 5 and Ghost number 3. Then you can see, that famous AH on there. Is it on here as well? Yep. Here's that famous AH there, and look in the porthole. Can you see it? It's not focusing in, but it's there. Yeah. These are a little earlier in the Adam Hughes timeline. Not too many people know about some of these older Adam Hughes covers. So you can still find them. They don't go for the same crazy prices as the Catwoman and Wonder Woman covers go for, but they're still beautiful and they're fun to have. All right. Next, we're going to get into the licensed line of comics. I got a bunch of, I'm a sucker for, movies and TV shows that are in comic form. I got a few. These aren't worth anything. Married with Children. Remember this title from Now Comics? This came out at the height of the Married with Children popularity. And it was a good idea because they didn't just do Married with Children comics. They put kind of a sci-fi slant on it. They just did insane stories that you couldn't tell in the TV show, in the sitcom format. And they had a great time with it. And I really loved this comic when it came out. I was working at the comic shop, like I said, and I used to read this off the stand. I never bought any. I'm making up for that, transgression now in the 50-cent bin. So I picked up this one here. I thought this was a really cool cover. It looks like a Glenn Fabry cover. I'm not sure that's the case, but it sure looks like it, doesn't it? And then I also picked up a photo cover. I love TV photo covers. There's the beautiful Christina Applegate. Married with Children, number 4. I believe these are from probably, I would say, the early 90s. Nothing special there. Those are literally worth cover price, probably $2 maybe. But for 50 cents, they're a fun read. Definitely a fun read. I got Buffy #6. This is actually from the very first Buffy title that came out from Dark Horse. So while it's not worth, I think it's worth maybe $5. Like, no great value, but it takes place before they started doing, season 8, season 9, season 10. This was just literally the 6th Buffy comic that came out. So that's probably the oldest Buffy comic I own. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice find for 50 cents, as far as I'm concerned. Next up, I got a very nice little run of the XFiles, starting with #2. This is a comic that used to have a lot of value. Now, not so much. It's really fallen off. And the reason, of course, is that Topps made millions of these comics. The print run on this thing was outrageous. Everybody who wanted one of these had one. And that's why, the value's never really taken off in any sort of great way. #1 has a little bit of value. Everything beyond that is, you're going to find them in dollar bins everywhere. I actually had a complete run of this title, and I broke it up so that I could, make, I could take them to a binding company and bind them into my own trades. This is before, they started putting everything into trades. Now you can get this in trades, but when I did it, you couldn't. So I made my own trades. And then instantly regretted it because I missed having the comics. So now I'm sort of rebuilding that X-Files run. I always had a couple of copies of #1. So I still have #1. Now I have #2 back, #3, #4. And these weren't awesome stories, by the way. Let me just get that out of the way. They were okay, but they weren't super awesome. #5, and a nice standard Scully and Mulder #6 cover. Almost looks photo reference, but it's not. It's a painted cover. Charles Adlard on the art. All right. Continuing my license books, also picked up Aliens Hive #1 of 4. I don't know anything about this, but I got Aliens on the brain with a movie in theaters, so what the heck, pick that up. Also picked up Terminator Hunters and Killers. Small little run here. You know what? Here's the thing about Terminator. I don't know if they ever had value, but there isn't a single Terminator comic that is worth more than $10 now. Not a single one. These books are all in dollar bins everywhere. Again, it's because most of them were done in the 90s, and the print runs were outrageous, like in the millions. So, they're easy to find, and that's why they'll never have a lot of value. But the stories are kind of fun in that 90s kitsch way. So we got the Terminator Hunters and Killers #1. #2, I actually don't really like these covers. They look too, Photoshoppy. There's something not right about them. And #3, they look like bad CGI movie posters or movie case covers, for straight-to-video movies. Don't enjoy that at all. But I bet you when these first came out, probably in the mid-90s, that people loved them because, they had that feel that we haven't seen on comic art before. It's like the birth of computer art or something for comic covers. I'm just speculating on that. But now they look kind of ugly as far as I'm concerned. Also picked up Terminator #4 from the original Terminator Dark Horse run. And simply because I didn't have it. It's just a little hole I had in my collection. Again, not worth anything. Like I said, there's only one Terminator book that's even worth $10, and that's this one. I picked this up as well for 50 cents. Terminator #1 from Now Comics, the first appearance of Terminator in comics, I believe. And trust me, I am always wrong. So I'm sure one of you will pop in and say, no, he actually appeared. Maybe now that I'm thinking about it, perhaps there was a movie adaptation comic that came out before this from Marvel. I don't know. What I do know is this is the first Terminator title from Now Comics, and it does have a $10 value, but that's it. Everything under this is like $2-3, and this isn't even in $10 shape, by the way. It's got It's got like a big bend in the bottom. So even then, my only $10 find is probably worth about $3. Okay, and then last couple of books, guys. Just wrapping this up. These are just books that are a little bit, a little bit maybe more special. Not that much. They had a huge run of Ghostly Haunts from Modern Comics. I don't know anything about this title, but I love horror comics. I love horror anthology comics. I guess this is one of those women in bondage covers that people are crazy about. I'm not so crazy about them. I think it's a little sexist, but, that's just me being a modern man. The feminist that I am. But Ghostly Haunts is a title I'm interested in. They had several issues of this. Probably this is number 41. They probably had 15 or 20, but they were all in crappy condition. They were beat to crap. They were all beat up. And this one's not a super exception to that. The corners aren't great. Look, you can see the fold in that corner at the top corner. But it was the best of the bunch, and for 50 cents, I thought it was worthwhile. A lot of spine ticks. I would say this is probably, maybe a 6 point. Well, I don't know if I'd go that low. Maybe a 7. But regardless, who cares? It's probably not worth anything. I didn't even look it up. That's how little I cared. But I will read that because I do love horror comics. And then this was the big one I found. You've seen this one from me before because I found another copy that nobody knows about this. This is such a funny comic. I mean, these bins were picked over clean, and nobody touched this comic because it looks like a random piece of crap from PC, who are not known for putting out awesome comics. This is number 2, Star Slayer, The Log of the Jolly Roger. A cheap Warlord knockoff that, nobody in their right mind should probably ever read. However, what a lot of people don't know is that there was a second feature in this title. This is a book with 2 features, and it's not even on the cover, so nobody knows about it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the first full appearance of The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens, if you can believe it. Buried in the back of this nothing book. So this is number 2. Issue number 1 had a cameo, which was essentially just a 1-page pinup saying, next issue, we're starting this new feature. And number 2 is the first story where the kid appears as the Rocketeer for the very first time. So this is a first appearance. And you know what? You'll find these sometimes because nobody has any clue. Lock this in your brain, guys. Find this book. It's not that hard. There's a whole bunch of them. You know what? There's so many of them that the first appearance of the Rocketeer is only worth $28 in the Overstreet Guide. $28 for the first appearance of the Rocketeer, guys. That's nothing because these books are plentiful, but you got to find them. This was actually maybe the best conditioned book of the entire lot. I couldn't find even a nick on this thing. If I was going to be a CGC guy, I would CGC this in a heartbeat, and I could almost guarantee, unless there's something in the interior that I missed, that this would be a 9.8. Easy. First appearance of Rocketeer. I might have to do that just because I love that character so much. And finally, I got The Lucy Show. I don't even know what number this is, but it's a 12-cent comic, a Silver Age comic. You guys know that I love the old comedy books. I'll buy Bob Hope comics, Jerry Lewis comics, Three Stooges comics. I showed a Laurel and Hardy comic last time. I wasn't even really aware that Gold Key did a Lucy Show title. And so for 50 cents, and this is 1964, guys. Look at that date right there. 1964 from Desilu Productions, Inc. There it is, The Lucy Show. It's not in good condition. I mean, but the cover is intact except for a little bit of chipping in the corner there. Anytime I find a book complete with 2 clean staples, that's non-rusty staples, and a complete cover and complete issue, I will pick it up, even if it's in kind of dingy shape, because these Silver Age 12-cent issues still have some value. I bet I could get $10 for this book. even though it's beat up beyond all recognition. And before I even do that, the first thing I'm going to do is read it, because that's what I do with my comics, folks. I read them. All right, guys, that's it for this haul. 50 comics, $25. Oh, you know what? That's not it. I'm so sorry. I have one more little section I almost forgot. You guys are probably doing the math going, that's not 50 comics. You're a little short there, Buster. I have another little section I'm just going to blow through. Picked up a Bone number 6. Whenever I see a Bone issue from cartoon books, I always pick it up in the hopes that it's a first print. This was actually a 4th print. But I never want to ask to look in the bag. These were kind of in dirty bags. If you find Bones that are from Image, leave them alone. Those are reprints. But if you find Bone from cartoon books, you know, if you can, take a look to see if they're a first print, because they've got a lot of value. The 4th print, not so much, but you know, I've been slowly kind of putting a Bone run together. A little bit, kind of fun. I picked up Walt Disney's Goofy. So this section is basically cartoon books, you know, like just kind of the more cartoony stuff. Goofy Adventures number 4. I just love Disney comics. Before I got into superheroes at around age 13 or so, I was all in on Disney comics, Archie comics, Dennis the Menace, Pink Panther, Hanna-Barbera, Harvey, you name it. I had them all. It wasn't until I was a teenager that I started reading superheroes. So I still have an affinity for all these cartoon books. And, you know, in a 50-cent bin, and I find one that is in terrific condition, I'll pick it up every time. And in the spirit of that, I found some Richie Rich comics that were in absolutely wonderful condition. Now, these are all newsstand because, you know, they're Richie Rich. These stands, I mean, they just like, you know, made all kinds of... This was like Archie, right? So this was the Archie of the Harvey world. So, you know, they had about 10 or 12 different titles of Richie Rich. The same as, you know, with Archie, you have Betty and Veronica, Jughead, Life with Archie, the Archies, you know, on and on, the Archie titles. It was the same thing for Richie Rich. This one was Richie Rich and Cadbury, the Perfect Butler. There were so many titles, his butler got his own title, and this is number 22, folks. So that should tell you how many Richie Rich books there were. Again, all newsstand, because the newsstand was the place to get these kind of books. You know, hardcore comic collectors weren't really picking these up from local comic shops. They were just getting them off the newsstand. These are all in great condition. These are hard to find in high condition newsstand books. Anyways, I also got a couple of issues of Richie Rich's Vaults of Mystery. And this was the Richie Rich title that was trying to capitalize on like the House of Secrets kind of style books, you know, a little bit weirder stories. I actually really like this title a lot. So I got number 37, 50 cents. So, you know, these are from like, you know, the very early 80s or even late 70s. So what, number 37, number 40. Ooh, look at those mysteries. These are fun stories too. I really like Richie Rich. And number 41, The Black Light. It turned day into night. Oh, to be so rich that you could have a black light. All right, guys. That's it for real this time. Oh my gosh, I'm going to burp. Excuse me. That's it for real this time. Sorry about the false ending there. I hope you stuck with it. Thanks so much, guys. I'm going to pass you back over to the other Near Mint Nerd, the past Near Mint Nerd. I'm, of course, the present Near Mint Nerd. And every once in a while, you'll hear from the future Near Mint Nerd. When, you know, I do the editing and add a couple of little texty things, which I've been doing less and less of, I know, because it's, you know, it takes a while to edit, and I got to get these things out faster because I don't have as much time now that I'm, you know, in a full-time job. Anyways, let me play the world's smallest violin, right? Take care, guys. Here's the Near Mint Nerd. Thanks so much. Why can't I get this stupid thing in tune? Oh, hey everyone. Hope you enjoyed the haul. You know, $25. Probably, you know, within 4 books I had doubled that. So as far as pure profit goes, obviously I don't sell my books, so You know, they'll ebb and flow over the years, as books do. Really heartbreaking about some of these books that used to be worth, you know, like the early X-Files comics and the Alien Legion. Really falling on hard times. But you never know. They'll probably turn it around eventually. And that's when, you know, the more enterprising of you will quickly sell them while they're at the top of the profit chart. Excuse me. Not me, though. I'm going to hold them forever. And that's just the way it's going to be. Okay, so in the next couple of videos, maybe not the next one, but the one after, I'm going to be starting my Q&A section of these videos. So don't forget to drop me your questions in my comment box, and I will answer them at the end of videos, and I will credit you with the questions. Ask me anything you want about my real life, about comics, about, you know, things you want to see, about, you know, whatever. I'm happy to answer anything. There's no question I won't answer. It's a real ask me anything. I may give you a funny answer instead of, you know, a heartfelt answer, but I will answer them. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. 50 books. You know what? I actually kind of like this format of 50 books. They won't always be $25 hauls because it's kind of rare that I find 50-cent, you know, full 50-cent sales. But I'm finding that 50 books is a very nice number. I probably won't go above it from now on. So I may just start doing 50 book hauls or under because I like that timing. Okay, guys, thanks so much. Hit subscribe. Hit the little bell on subscribe. That's going to let you know when my videos are coming. They're a little intermittent right now during the summer season. Leave me a comment, like I said. Hit like. I mean, did you like it? Hit like. Did you not like it? Hit like. Why not? It doesn't cost you anything. That's about it. Really, I got to get you out of here. You got a lot to do today. I got a lot to do today. So I'm going to see you next time. I've been the Near Mint Nerd. This is the I Got Issues channel. Tell your friends.